Hello, Navtat. Today is November 13th, 2021. Let's start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, and talk about Monday's trade. It's my trading plan for Monday, November 15th, 2021. Please remember I can be wrong and all trades should be at your own risk. First thing we normally do is review our predictions. Here's what we said. We said if the declines to continue with the intensity I'd like to see, it'd be ideal if we gapped under the low of Thursday. Said that had no assurance of happening, and if not, look for higher prices. Well, we didn't do that, so we got the higher prices. Now, the commonest thing we said was a gap and a prompt move outside the day's range. We got the gap. The move outside the day's range was not prompt. So after that, the vast majority of the time is to close little change. But we didn't close little change, so we had a very unusual situation, not unprecedented, but not very common, where neither of those things happen. This is the pattern with the early high, although when you gap up, the high points normally split. And Monday, look for the pattern with the early low. We had a target from November 10th, and that printed. Normally it's resistance or support, but that's not guaranteed, and it didn't work here. During the day, MEJT said this rally wouldn't stick, so we retraced under this line, find support there, and we did. The general idea is that this wave magenta C probably isn't over. If it were over, we would anticipate this being the end of blue B and a sharp drop like blue A, which we're not seeing. But I was looking for more of a drop than we've had so far. Doesn't make me right. Here's what we have. Here's the end of magenta B. And we had this as an A of C, probably. Here's the first move down. And the question is this corrective ABC over? And then we're going to new highs? Or is this just a different correction of this correction? Well, we had a number of normally negative things on Friday, and normally when you ignore all those negative things, it means you're going higher and not lower as I was planning. But you have to get follow through for that to work. Here's a gap up. We promptly undercut the first 5-minute bar. That's typically a sign of weakness. It was well past the first hour of trading when we overtook this high. It doesn't preclude higher prices, but normally you don't get a strong advance like this one. The day's pattern tends to be negative as well. And when you just ignore all this normally negative stuff, almost always it means higher prices are coming. But you have to get follow through. Follow through means overtaking this high promptly, because if you don't get follow through, this doesn't mean anything. It's particularly true when you rally all day and the close is under this high and under the highs of the prior consolidation. Until you pass up these highs, it's just a retrace. Now this was so strong and overcame so many normally negative things, the odds are pretty good that we are going to continue higher, that we are going to get follow through. And moves on Friday like this nearly always follow through. And because the odds are strong that we are going to follow through, That means if we don't, we drop smartly instead, and this recovery is probably over. And I don't know how we're going to open Monday, but I suspect which of those things will happen will be pretty clear even before we open. These are my calls for the patterns for next week. Signals are mixed. It's positive that the volatility index, NASDAQ, McClellan oscillator are giving us buy signals. Doesn't mean we have to rally every day, but wouldn't be very common to see this if we're going to have a big drop right now. Friday's normally bearish pattern was positive. Normally this leads to further rallies, but it's negatively rallied all day, couldn't close over the midday highs. Now, a number of normally bearish indicators failed on Friday, and usually this means higher prices are in store. All the bulls need to do is to clear Friday's high promptly. If they do, I think new all-time highs are plausible. They're even very likely, I think. But if we move down smartly Monday instead, it's compatible with recent gains being corrective and the all-time high holding a bit longer, even though I don't think it'll hold forever. So we didn't get the follow through we normally got on Wednesday's negative day. When these things fail, they normally fail in grand style. So all systems are go for this rally to continue, provided we promptly take out this high, and preferably these highs too, because this is resistance. And if we're going to go higher, that shouldn't be too hard to do. We could go quite a lot higher. But if we can't surpass this, if we start out by dropping instead, I wouldn't look for it to recover. Monday has the early low, and that is today's call.